Okay, I've got 6 o'clock by my clock. Call this meeting, the regular session of Montgomery County Board of Commissioners to order. This is Tuesday, May the 21st, 2019. We'd like to call on a very familiar face, Reverend Ed Lindsay, to provide our invocation. Reverend Lindsay.
Father, we bring to you tonight this meeting, our county commissioners and all of those who will speak. We pray that your blessing will rest upon this time. Though there will be discussion, may it be in unity. Though there may be disagreement, may we do it in a proper fashion. For what you do, we will give you praise. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Woodard, would you mind leading us in Pledge of Allegiance?
If you are able, please rise and join us in reciting our Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
Motion made by Commissioner Matheny to approve the agenda.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mack. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And I believe the first order of business is a presentation of Nick Petro, Robbie Smith.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Robbie Smith. I'm the Director of Emergency Services for Montgomery County, and I'm glad to be here. I have with me Nick Petro from the National Weather Service. Just to give you a little background, a few months ago, I applied for Montgomery County to be a storm-ready community. Nick came out and did an inspection of what we had and what we had in place to warn folks, the citizens, of impending storms. He identified some issues that we needed to do. We have completed those, and I would like to present Mr. Nick Petro from the National Weather Service.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Robbie. And good evening, everyone. Good evening, Commissioners. It's a great pleasure to be here this evening. This is a great achievement for the county. This is a great achievement for everyone here and everyone who lives in the community. It was a pleasure working with Mr. Smith. And Storm Ready is a program that the National Weather Service developed in the late 90s to ensure safety and information reception and to try to mitigate the dangers associated with severe weather. Severe weather is no stranger to this part of the country. You know, we've had a couple episodes of severe weather just recently. One comes to mind on April 19th this year, where there were several tornado warnings. There were 31 tornado warnings issued in central North Carolina alone. There was a tornado episode just last weekend, just to our west. So while we were lucky here and didn't have any major damage, it can happen here, and significant damage can happen. There's other weather hazards we need to deal with: flooding, flash flooding, winter storms, excessive heat, dense fog. All of these can put lives at risk and put folks in danger here in the community. So the National Weather Service works with emergency management officials to make sure the community and the county is prepared. They make sure the community and the county has a way to receive our severe weather alerts. And to make sure that not only the weather alerts received, but also that the residents of the county know what to do with that information once they receive those alerts. So Storm Ready is all about that, what I just mentioned. Receiving the alerts, issuing supplemental information that the county does to provide its residents with life-saving information, and also getting out and educating the community about how to respond during severe weather. And that's what Storm Ready is all about. I've had a great pleasure working with Robbie, with Mr. Smith here, to do storm training of first responders, to do storm training, storm reporting training with the general public. Mr. Smith has developed just a great ways to educate the community about severe weather preparedness, including a great storm and preparedness pamphlet that's handed out at community events. So just really, I want to say congratulations to Robbie and to the county and to everyone here on great achievements, which, you know, we can't eliminate the risks with severe weather, but we can try to mitigate the dangers, and that's what Storm Ready is all about. So if I may, I'd just like to just read a couple lines of this recognition letter that I would like to present, and it's congratulations. This letter is to inform you that NOAA's National Weather Service has recognized Montgomery County as a storm-ready county. This success is clearly a result of you and your colleagues' vision, leadership, and hard work and commitment to those and work in your community. The National Weather Service designed Storm Ready to help communities better prepare for and mitigate the effects of extreme weather-related events. I was pleased to see that Montgomery County has instituted a means of weather information collection and dissemination and has increased the level of severe weather awareness, which will no doubt minimize the threat to life and property within your county during any future weather disaster. So with that, again, congratulations. And I have this recognition letter, and also as part of the Storm Ready program, we provide these road signs that you can proudly display anywhere in the county. You're more than welcome to make additional ones and have them posted around the county so that not only your residents know that you're prepared, but visitors and those passing through the county know that it's a safe place to be when the severe weather strikes. So thank you so much.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
sir.
Round of applause. Thank you. Thank you, Robbie.
Thank you.
Okay. That brings us to our public forum part of the meeting today. We've got a couple of public hearings, at least one public hearing. If anybody's here to comment at that public hearing, hold off until we have that hearing. If anyone else is here just to speak at the public forum, and you're welcome to speak on anything that the commissioners ordinarily would hear. If anybody's here that wishes to speak at the public forum, come on forward. Is there anybody? I guess we need to read the rules first, don't we?
Yes, I think we do have somebody that wants to speak.
Okay.
We have a hearing on the budget and for rezoning, so those each will have a public hearing aspect, but the public comment period shall be for the purpose of allowing members of the public to comment on county business or items on the agenda. It shall not serve as a forum for debate with the commissioners. Remarks will please be addressed to the board and not the staff, audience, or the media. The chairman opens the public comment period. Any person who wishes to speak, please approach the podium, announce your name and address before making comment. Any citizen desiring to comment on a matter of public interest within the authority of the Board of Commissioners to legislate an open session will be allocated 3 minutes time. Mr. McIntyre, I think you want to speak at the board.
Ms. McIntyre, if you would, just state your name and your address when you get it.
John McIntyre, 1064 Derry Road, Troy, North Carolina.
Very good.
I came up here today to brag on a county employee. She is absolutely amazing at her job. I was astounded. The Veteran Service Officer, Ms. Pack, I truthfully have been using Moore County Veteran Services for 15 or 20 years because Miss Brewer down there was simply amazing as well. But I stopped by to see Ms. Pack a few months ago to ask her an extremely technical question. When you're dealing with the VA, if you forget to cross a T or dot an I or leave a box unchecked, they send it back. That can take 6 months before you get it straight. She answered the question. Then she proceeded to help me fill out the paperwork. That typically don't happen in most counties, okay? You've got a good employee, you need to hang on to her. And then I had my daughter check to see how much money she made, because I was sitting there thinking she ought to be getting paid pretty good. Y'all should be ashamed of yourself, every one of you. Every last one of y'all should be ashamed of yourself to have an employee that good and pay them so little. I don't know what else to tell you, except that when budget time comes, you ought to take it into consideration that you have an employee that loves the veterans, she takes care of the veterans, and she stays on top of everything. You can't ask for anybody, that's dedication, that's above and beyond, okay? And I'm gonna shut up about that now. I got one more thing to say, and then I'm gonna get out of y'all's hair. About a half a dozen folks in Montgomery County got killed during the Vietnam War. Most of their parents are done and gone, but a lot of them still have brothers, sisters, nieces, nephews, cousins. I know that from previous experience with county commissioners, if there's something y'all want to do, you can find $1 million. If it's something you don't want to do, you can't find 35 cents in the budget, okay? That's just the nature of the beast. I wish that y'all would consider putting another monument out here in the front of the courthouse. Don't have to be a big one. I think we had about 6 or 8 people get killed. Wayne, you and Dottie both, we went to school with some of them. I know y'all remember Chesley Story, Sammy Monroe, Davis boy on the east side of the county, he got killed. Danny Hoopaw, sad to say, out of Norman, he was on a PBR that took a rocket, had to ground it, and when the rescue people got there, all the crew had their hands tied behind their backs and was assassinated, okay? These people, we've all forgot them, or most of us have. They gave their lives. There's no more they can give. I think y'all should be able to find a few $100s to put a little monument out there or something and put their names on it. If nothing else, their families can come and look at it, and it might bring them a little bit of peace and closure. I know the Vietnam War was not popular. I went over there. I didn't want to be there. I didn't like it. And but anyway, I appreciate anything y'all will do, but you owe it to the families of these veterans to do that. And it's not going to cost you that much money. But you need to take care of your veteran service officer. She's doing you a good job, okay?
Thank you very much, John. We'll take all that into consideration. We appreciate your comments.
Well,
Anybody?
let me know what you do.
And we, of course, defer to the Veterans Council on the courthouse monuments and that, and I see Mr. Florence in the room, and county certainly wants to talk about it, and if y'all will initiate the conversation of what would be appropriate, we'll get together.
Is there anyone else that needs to speak at the public forum? Yes, come on, state your name and your address, please.
Sam Martin, 539 Oklahoma Star Road, Star, North Carolina. I'm here basically for the same purpose, but I won't go on a whole lot. All I will say is that I'm a Vietnam veteran also. Took 51 years to get any kind of compensation from the VA, and Gracia Pack did it. She is so dedicated. I mean, we've had veterans people in Montgomery County before, but they didn't have, they didn't have the direction from the VA to do what Gracia does. She goes probably once a month over to Salisbury and goes through classes and keeping update on what's next, and she is so dedicated to that work. I was in her office this morning about my wife, some stuff with my wife thing, whatever they do for them. And the call came in that John was gonna be here, and she almost broke in tears. I mean, she's so dedicated to the veterans. And I know somebody here is a veteran. You're a veteran. You know. Commissioner Wooden is too.
Yep, you know how hard that I didn't even know I could go to the VA until 2006. I didn't know I was even due for any kind of compensation until a few months ago from an employee of Edward Jones here in Troy, North Carolina, and he's never been in service. And it's just one of those things, when you see somebody that is working that hard to do her job, and she goes overboard. She goes all to the limit to support these veterans, and she's absolutely dedicated. And, you know, y'all just remember, you got the best. We don't want to lose it.
Thanks, Sam. I appreciate those comments. Yes, sir. State your name and your
Here for the
address.
same reason, Ed Stewart from Pekin area. Same thing with Gracia Pack. You guys don't realize behind the scenes, she gets up packets and helps families of veterans with food, takes it to them. And she buys this out of her pocket. And I have no clue what her salary is and don't care, it's none of my business, but she's really doing a lot behind the scenes that you guys don't see. And you know, I'm 10 years service, military, 25 plus with the fire department. But, you know, she's a big volunteer, she's got a great heart, she goes above and beyond, okay? And I'm just thinking, maybe you guys might be overlooking this, I'm sure you're not. You know, you guys are doing a great job too, and I appreciate you veteran service up there, both of you guys. But if you would, just pay attention to her and see what you got, because I'm thinking a lady with that much ability and what she knows, the credentials that she's got, she could be taken away and gone to like a federal building in Winston-Salem. She could get a better job offered. You guys are gonna lose a lot of people, you know, with her, with that. And she's putting a lot of money back in this county, back in this community. You know, this money trickles down back to the economy. So she's really doing a lot for her county, okay, and her town. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Appreciate your comments. Is there anyone else needs to speak at the public forum? Okay. Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Motion made by Commissioner Matheny to approve the consent agenda. Seconded by Commissioner Robinson. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Okay, that brings us to the first public hearing. This public hearing will be for rezoning from request from Rental Income LLC from residential to commercial. And I'm gonna call on our specialist, Andrew K. Hagan, to come up and fill us in on this request.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. We do have a rezoning request on the agenda tonight, RZ03-2019. Rental Income LLC is requesting the rezoning of 9.67 acres of property from residential to commercial. Mr. Bill Hudson, as the applicant, is in attendance tonight, as along with his representative, Attorney Jay Wagner. If you have any questions, to field to them as well. The parcel is located on NC 109 North and Old Thayer Mill Road, further defined as parcel identification number 669200611896. The parcel is also depicted on plat G22D, registered with the County Register of Deeds. A copy of that document was included in the agenda packet as attachment 1. This matter was reviewed by the Planning Board on April 22nd. The Planning Board, upon finding that the 5 policy guidelines stipulated by the zoning ordinance have been met, and that the proposed rezoning was consistent with the future land use plan, voted by a unanimous vote of 4-0 to recommend approval of RZ03-2019 to the Board of Commissioners. The Planning Board also adopted the consistency statement as required by law. That's included in the agenda packet as well. During that meeting, bring this up. I did review the Article 4, Section 2.1 of the zoning ordinance. This section does establish, get this to move. I might not have it on. You can move the picture. Okay. During that meeting, I did review this Section 2.1, which establishes several policy guidelines rezoning requests must meet in order to receive favorable recommendation from the Planning Board. In several instances, I'll refer to applicant statements. Those are taken from the application which was provided with the agenda packet. The guidelines stipulated by ordinance are as follows. The proposal will place all property similarly situated in the area in the same category or in appropriate complementary categories. The zoning map that does appear on our county GIS system, as is sometimes the case, is not correct for this particular area of the county. There's been several rezonings over the past few years that have changed some of those parcels. A copy of the correct map was included with the agenda packet. That's towards the middle of the packet. There's 2 maps, one of the south side of the property and one of the north. Most immediately surrounding property, as well as property to the south, such as the El Dorado Outpost and the Ori Off-Road Training Center, zoned as commercial. Only the property immediately to the north of the subject property and across the street are zoned anything different. Those are residential too. Item B, that there is convincing demonstration that all uses permitted under the proposed district classification would be in the general public interest and not merely in the interest of an individual or small group. The applicant's statement included with the rezoning application states that commercial use of the property will increase the county's tax base and increase entertainment and outdoor tourism, as well as provide jobs to county residents. At this time, it's not immediately clear as to if there'll be any tax base increase. That is generally based upon the eventual use of the property. However, a commercial rezoning does of course open the parcel up to additional uses that may not otherwise be permitted under residential 2 zoning. There is a possibility that entertainment and outdoor tourism may increase, but again, this would depend upon the eventual use of the property. A commercial rezoning of this property would allow several new uses that are not permitted in the residential 2 district, permitted by right. That would include banks and other financial institutions, barber and beauty shops, grocery stores, drugstores, dry goods stores, hardware stores, laundries, laundromats, and dry cleaning pickup stations, wireless facilities and support structures of up to 150 feet in height, and all uses permitted in the R1, R2, and R3 zoning districts. Any use not mentioned there would be deemed as conditional and require additional review by the Planning Board and Board of Commissioners. Item C, that there is convincing demonstration that all uses permitted under the proposed district classification would be appropriate in the area included in the proposed change. When a new district is proposed, any use permitted in the district is allowable, so long as it meets the district requirements and not merely uses for which the applicants state they intend to make of the property. We do have to consider all uses that may be permitted within the district in reviewing this request. The applicant statement from the application states that the requested zoning is the first step of a large scale plan development of applicants' adjacent properties pursuant to a conditional use permit application. At this time, I've not received any formal conditional use permit application. We loosely discussed the future plans for the property, but at this time, they're just simply requesting this parcel be rezoned as commercial. Again, as previously stated, all the uses must be considered, not merely uses proposed by the applicant. As I had stated before, uses permitted by right, which would be use you could come into the office tomorrow and obtain a zoning and subsequent building permit for the commercial district, are all relatively unobtrusive, and for the most part, they serve to benefit the community directly by giving them things like grocery stores, hardware store, restaurant, things of that nature. These additional uses do not appear to be at odds with existing zoning districts. Such uses are already permitted directly to the south and behind this parcel as it is. Item D, that there is convincing demonstration that the character of the neighborhood will not be materially and adversely affected by any use permitted in the proposed change. Again, commercial uses in the area have existed for some time. Property directly adjacent is already zoned for such a use. And item E, the proposed change is in accord with any land use plan and sound planning principles. The future land use plan does support additional commercial development in this area. That's all been included with the agenda packet as attachment 2. That includes the future land use plan and some relevant policy sections that serve to show support for this request. This area is deemed as a community service area per the included future land use map, which is essentially a more rural area designed to support the services of a more rural community. We did have a rezoning recently for Ether. It's a very similar designation in that it's a rural area designed to serve community needs of the individuals in that El Dorado area. This is a substantial tourism hub as well. This does serve the Uwharrie National Forest, and as we know, that's a very critical asset to the county's tourism. I do believe that the 5 policy guidelines required for favorable approval have been met. Additional commercial development to support this community service area is reasonable. Again, it's a tourist destination due to the proximity to the Uwharrie National Forest. Please note that on this particular request, a motion to adopt the appropriate consistency statement must be made prior to the adoption or denial of the rezoning request pursuant to General Statute 153A 341. Prior to this particular meeting, we've actually been taking those as one motion. Because of a quirk in the actual language of the statute, for counties, we have to take that motion to adopt the consistency statement prior to the adoption of the rezoning. It sounds a little bit backwards, but that's the way the law is written, and I don't write that portion. So we do have to make that motion to adopt the appropriate consistency statement prior to a motion to adopt or deny the rezoning request. I'm certainly prepared to answer any questions the board may have. And again, Mr. Hudson's in attendance, as well as his attorney, Jay Wagner, if the board has any questions for either of them.
Chairman, if the board doesn't have any for Andrew, we'll next hear from the applicant. Mr. Wagner, you've heard Andrew's recommendation that you've met all of the required policy guidelines. It's consistent with like zone parcels and meets our consistency statement for future development. So I don't think there's much you can argue here.
No, do you need my name and address?
Please.
Okay, I'm Jay Wagner. My address is P.O. Box 5506, High Point, zip code 27262. Have with me Bill Hudson, who's the owner of the property. I think Andrew did a very good job of presenting it. We're here just to answer any questions you might have, and we believe that this rezoning will be advantageous to that part of the county and possibly bring more services to that area. We believe will help your desires for that area to be more of a tourism destination. And like it said in our application, this is kind of the first step, and we intend to bring back a more comprehensive plan for some adjacent, this property and some adjacent property that Mr. Hudson owns, and hope to have that back to you as soon as possible. But if you have any questions for us, we'll be glad to answer them.
Anybody got any questions? I guess the only thing that I would add is I'm assuming you're representing Mr. Hudson, is that
Yes, I'm an
correct?
attorney from High Point.
And he does understand the permitted uses of commercial,
Yes.
okay? Limited outside of the residential things that he'd be allowed to do.
Absolutely.
The other designations are limited, and he understands that.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So I think the first thing we need to do is to seek a motion on adopting the consistency.
No, if we will, the public comment, even, you know, if Mr. Hudson has met the guidelines, that he's entitled by right to the uses of the property, but at a public hearing, we do solicit input from anybody that's either an expert. If they want to give expert testimony, they can certainly state their credentials, but outside of that, if there's any residents that want to comment, they're certainly allowed 3 minutes time to do so.
Anyone here you wish to comment? Okay.
Not hearing any, the motion would be to discussion on the adoption of the consistency statement, that it is consistent with our future land use plan.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the board on adopting the consistency statement, which all of you got a copy of, I think, in your packet?
I'll make that motion if we're done.
Motion made by Commissioner Crisco to adopt the consistency statement.
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Mack. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
And having adopted the consistency statement, it would be a motion and a vote on the rezoning from R2 to commercial.
I guess the first thing is to do, is there anybody that wishes to comment on the 5 statements that Andrew said that he felt like had been met?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we accept Mr. Hagan's assessment that the 5 necessary conditions have been met.
Okay. I don't need a second of that, do I? I don't need a
If
second.
he's making the motion to, based on that, to approve the rezoning, yes.
Or you making a motion to approve the rezoning?
Yes, and I further move that we approve the rezoning as requested.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Matheny,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Crisco. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, been approved, and so this public hearing is closed.
And our second public hearing is on the county budget. General statute requires that counties hold a public hearing before passing the budget. Actually, the commissioners here in Montgomery County hold 2 public hearings, one in May and one in June. The vote on the budget will be at the June 18th meeting, but the budget is presented to the public. It is included in the board packet and available online to anyone who wants to look at it. But this is the first public hearing to receive any public comment. I think we heard at the first public forum that kind of
breached on the county budget, asking for more salaries for employees. And so I'll certainly make a comment here that salary adjustments are included in this year's budget, that I think the Board of Commissioners has done very well to balance the needs of the county, and they've certainly prioritized education, and I think they're certainly on the right path, and I compliment you on that. But I will be glad to answer any questions that someone may have, but at this time, if you would open the public forum to let anybody comment on the needs of the county in relation to the county budget.
Is there anyone here who would love to come and speak at the public forum on the county budget? Hearing none, the public comment period is closed.
All right. Next on the agenda is the county manager's report. We have several action items. The first two, which we will take as one if it pleases the board unless there's some discussion, is board appointments. The commissioner makes the appointments to the Regional Workforce Development Board and also to the Montgomery County Child Fatality Prevention Team. The recommendations are for Dana Dawson to be appointed to the Regional Workforce Development Board and Sheriff Chris Watkins to be appointed to the Montgomery County Child Fatality Prevention Team.
Okay. This is an action item, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion that we accept these two nominations.
Motion made by Commissioner Crisco that we accept the two recommendations.
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Mack. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, thank you.
Second item is the upcoming year, 1920, a memorandum of understanding between the Department of Health and Human Services and Montgomery County. This memorandum of understanding is benchmarks and criteria that the county has to meet in order to provide services under Health and Human Services. This memorandum has been vetted by Stephanie and Social Services, and the recommendation is to enter into this agreement with the state and sign the memorandum of understanding.
Okay. The board's heard this recommendation. Do I hear a pleasure of the board?
I make the motion that we accept this and sign the memorandum of understanding.
Motion made by Commissioner Robinson that we accept this and sign the memorandum.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Matheny. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay.
All right, and the third item I have, action item, is a budget revision. The county, of course, receives a grant fund under the Home and Community Care Block Grant to provide services to the aged. And as we get near to the end of this fiscal year, there's some movement of funds to make sure that we maximize those funds. This budget revision has been vetted and approved by the county finance officer, and his recommendation is for the board to approve the budget revision for the Home and Community Care Block Grant.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to approve the budget amendment.
Motion made by Commissioner Matheny to approve the budget amendment.
I second.
Second by Commissioner Robinson. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Very good.
And the last item that's listed on the agenda, unfortunately, I do not have the resolution in hand. At the time the board packets were published at the end of last week, we had received notification that our representative Hudson had been successful in getting us some federal dollars to pave the road in the national forest up the Green Gap Shore. Those people have to travel a very bumpy road and a road that does not allow fast travel, and there's been some issues as far as emergency vehicles accessing them. And so for the many, many years, the county has asked for federal support to get paving done in the URA National Forest. Richard Hudson was able to secure a small bit of funding, I should say. I was told about $3.5 million, but that sounds like a lot, but unfortunately it would only pay about 0.9 of a mile. So it's less than a mile of road, but hey, some asphalt is better than no asphalt. That was gonna require a $200,000 county match. Senator Tom McGinnis, state level, had the funds at his contingency, so he has stepped up and offered to make the required match. And so, working together on the state and federal level, we certainly thank Richard Hudson and Tom McGinnis. When I was notified of it last week, they said they would need a resolution from the county endorsing the paving in the forest. And so we went ahead and added the item to the agenda, hoping that the resolution, that the language they needed would arrive. It has not arrived, and so we'll move that item to the June agenda if it pleases the board. Again, many thanks to them for what they've done. The last item on the agenda is the county reports. The commissioners have spent the better part of the day here today. They met as the Board of Equalization and Review right after lunch, and then we've had a lengthy work session meeting with department heads and the sheriff to discuss the budget and other needs of the county. Staff is here as always to address any issue related to these reports, or I'll be glad to tackle any question I can answer.
Anybody have any further questions, comments?
Mr. Chairman, I'll just comment that I appreciate the work of the manager and the department heads and the other employees of the county and the other constituents of the county and the hard work that has been done in the past, and also the preparation of the budget. I think it addresses the needs as well as we can within our means, and we appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner Matheny. Any further comments? That's all we got.
Thank you.
Having no further business before the board, I declare this meeting adjourned.